Unless we keep Krishna in the center, all this relationship is more or less becomes pretty wide. Why? Because the reason is Krishna is trying to convey that message. Of course, we'll see it in this particular chapter summary itself, what it means to be connected as a representative of the family and what it means to build up a relationship. So Krishna is the eternal relationship which we hold. We don't hold any other relationship. All these relationships, according to Bhagavad Gita, is like incessant flow of water in the river. As the river is overflowing, it has to reach the ocean. But in the process, it brings in lot of different logs. You know, in Canada, there is a very famous job option. It's called lumbering. What they do is they cut big trees and put it in the river. From the top of the river, it goes on to different places. So the way in which it flows is what is the way in which our life is. Prabhupada explains also another example that just like how the monsoon clouds all join together during the monsoon season, for 4 months it rains. After the monsoon season is over, all the different clouds which are joined has to go back to their different destinations. So in the same way, all our relationships are based on that family, that we all have come here for a cause, for a specific reason, which we are not sure about, but Krishna knows about it. So that is why he is presenting that to all of us. So when we are here together, we need to take that advantage and bring Krishna in the center. Then everyone gets benefited in that process, and then we become purified, and then we take it to the next level of our destiny and our progress in path of life. Okay, so Penelope raised her hand. Yes, Penny, what is it?
I learned the translation of the first verse you said, the 8.10.
10.8, not 8.10. Which one did you learn?
Verse 10.8.
10.8. What's the translation? Can you tell it? Yes, please.
I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me, and the wise that know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts.
So now you need to learn the Sanskrit. Well done. So the Sanskrit verse you need to learn. That's the next chapter for you. You need to learn the Sanskrit of the 4, not one alone, one by one, of course. But you learn the first one, and then you start going to second, third, and fourth. Okay. Thank you. Okay, so let me share my screen. We'll start with the chapter 12. I'm not going to ask you any quiz now because I'm sure that you're all in the same page as I am in with the 11 chapters which we have completed. So just wanted to ask you one quick question. What is the last chapter which we touched upon? Anybody?
Devotional service.
Universal form.
Universal form.
Okay, lucky I thought someone said devotional service. I didn't see them. I think it's Dev Prabhu, which is okay.
Not me this time, Prabhu, not me.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, now
Sorry.
This is what we are doing. Devotional services today. Bhakti Yoga. So don't worry. Right, nice. Let me just quickly share again. Okay, hope you're all able to see my screen, and that's it.
Yes, Prabhu, it's working.
Great. Okay, so we are starting from essence of Bhagavad Gita, and this is very important once again for us that the lordships have given the option of getting their darshan. Shishi Jana Balde Subhadra Marani ki jai, Sudarshan Bhagavan ki jai, Gira Govardhan ki jai. Please pray to their lordships that they enable us to understand this divine science. It's not possible otherwise. Always keep that in your prayers. Always remember. I am not this body, I am a spirit soul and belong to the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. And Krishna, please enable me in every step in my life. He will do that. Please join me in the prayers to the spiritual masters who are the ones who are actually giving us this knowledge and enabling us to understand the divine science, which is mystical in its nature. Om Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
This is dedicated to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya of ISKCON International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Okay, so we have another beautiful verse, the Gita Mahatmya Sri Vaishnavaya Tantrasara. It is presented by the Lord Himself. He says, Gita Shraya Aham Tishtami, Gita me Paramam Graham, Gita Jnanam Samsrishya Trilokim Palayam Aham. I am present within the Gita. Gita is my supreme residence. Only by the knowledge of Gita do I maintain the three worlds. Basically, Krishna himself says, I am the personality inside Gita, outside Gita, just like how Narsimha's prayers are there. Ito Narsimho, Parato Narsimho. Right? Krishna is present. He is presenting himself as the complete knowledge. He himself is taking shelter and residence in that divine mystical science of Bhagavad Gita, where he is taking Gita as a supplementary knowledge for him to present it to the three worlds. So now we are in this beautiful chapter called the devotional service. Shri Shri Radha Madhav ki jai. Okay, the chapter summary, as I said, Bhakti Yoga, which is the pure devotional service to Lord Krishna, is the highest and the most expedient means for attaining pure love for Krishna, which is highest conclusions of spiritual existence. Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavan iti Sabhyate. This is what Bhagavan is. Bhakti Yoga means Bhagavan, Bhakta and Bhakta Seva. So those who follow this supreme path develop all divine qualities. So we are going to touch upon each and every one aspect. There is a lot of wonderful shlokas in this particular chapter, which is going to give us many way by which we can understand how Krishna is refuting some of the questions of Arjuna when Arjuna is trying to push it through. He's saying, now the first question itself is like a big question. It's not even an inquiry. He's actually wanting to make it very clear and very precise. He wants a precise answer from Krishna's lotus mouth. So Arjuna says, which are considered to be more perfect, those who are always properly engaged in your devotional service, or those who worship the impersonal Brahman, the unmanifested? So Arjuna wants to make it very clear to the world and to himself that, are you saying that just like how he asked this question, do you have to renounce or just forget about renouncing? Do you have to start fighting? In the third chapter, that's in Karma Yoga part. So in the same way, he wants to know whether doing some kind of a devotional service, very properly engaged, not just some kind in that sense, but very properly engaged in doing your devotional service, is that the highest, or is that something like an impersonal Brahman, which is your Paramatma realization, or meditating on the Brahman Jyoti? So which is the better of these two? So Arjuna has to explain this, because he is representing us. So he is trying to explain it to the Supreme Lord, so that please give me an answer. So then on behalf of us, he's pushing the ball to the Supreme Lord in the way in which Krishna is going to adapt this situation and answer. Because this is a warfare, we should understand that he is in midst of the warfare. But still Krishna is giving an answer which is very, very much always guaranteed correctness. So it's not that he's going to give an answer based on the situation. Because he's in the war field, he is going to give an answer, and when he comes back to Hastinapur, then he's going to give a different answer. No, Krishna is not going to give that way. Krishna gives only one single answer that's going to be equal for entire cosmic manifestation. So the same question is being presented in the pictorial form. So Krishna says, Bhagavan Vacha, the Supreme Personality of God had said, those who fix their minds on a personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith are considered to be very perfect, most perfect by me. Te me yukto tamo mataha. This is very important. Tamo mataha. Mata means my opinion. Just like how we put a vote. Vote is mata, means my opinion, my view. So in my view, Krishna says, anyone who can contemplate on my Supreme Lord as I am the Supreme Lord, but in the supreme spiritual form, the personalized form, Bhagavan feature, and then they always engage in the spiritual worship, the devotional service with great and transcendental faith. Please underline this. Underlining with transcendental faith. You need to have this. Adau Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha. This is all very important. There are 6 steps which is informed to us in Nectar of Instruction. Sadhu Sangha, then Anartha Nivriti, Nishta, Utsaha, Nisya, Dhairya, Tatta, Karma, Pravartanat. All these things are explained in Nectar of Instruction. There's a different book written written by Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is Nectar of Devotion. Nectar of Instruction is again given to us by Rupa Goswami. So we need to read these 2 books as a supplementary to reading Bhagavad Gita. This gives you all these different importance of what each of it means. So here, transcendental faith is mandatory to start doing your daily devotion service. Then for those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested, the impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied. It's good that something is better than nothing, but not everything is better always, right? Why? Because Krishna is explaining this. This process is not that easy to capture yourself to the next level. Of course, there are some people who are sort of, I won't say they are delineated, means they are connected to that particular process and they don't want to let it go. They feel that's the highest and they have their opinion. So we cannot stop them from doing that. But that does not mean that's an easy way. As we discussed previously also, that the Lord has given us very good options and opportunities, but Krishna doesn't force you to take a specific option. He gives us the free will to execute and act according to our free will. That's what love is all about. You cannot force anyone to, you can only take the horse to the pond, but not make it drink. That's the same concept here, that Krishna has given everyone 3 options, Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan option. So then we choose to connect to the right path, right options. All the 3 are correct, good, correct. There is no wrong in that. But Krishna himself is saying that, in my opinion, the personalized form is the highest. And that's what I would want you to take it. By focused mind, and you'll be able to achieve. But through this impersonal feature, it's not easy because it's a long effort and very troublesome. If someone's saying, why is it so troublesome? There is a small difference. Let's say, for example, we want to take some pizzas. So in the Bhagavan feature, in the personalized form of service or devotion, it is simple. All you need to do is make a pizza, go and offer it to Krishna and eat it. But whereas in impersonal feature and Brahman features, it is not so. If you're supposed to make a pizza, they will probably contemplate it and say, okay, is this something useful for me? Is it, I think I may probably be in illusion, so I should not be taking care of this. So this is the way they contemplate. But whereas the bhaktas or the devotees, they look at how fast they can advance spiritually, how fast they can connect with the Supreme Lord as easily as possible and as genuinely as possible, not artificially, as genuinely as possible. So that's why they all choose to go to the Bhagavan feature, which is the complete in its nature. That we have touched upon even in the 2nd chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. It speaks about this. Vadanti tattva vidas tattam tadjnanam vavyam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti sabhyate. So that is what Krishna is trying to give us. That's like beautiful photo on this place, right? But those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotion service and always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Pritha, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. See, imagine this beautiful photograph. It gives many information to us in this. The Supreme Lord is here to pick up this devotee. The devotee is drowning in the ocean of material existence. It is not an ocean in the Atlantic or the Pacific. It is the motion of birth, death, old age, and disease. But when he is completely dedicated, he is completely devoted to the Lord, he is just raising both his hands and simply calling, Krishna, please help me. Krishna is personally there to pick him up. So this is the power of the Supreme Lord's. You are demanding by your service, you are practically demanding that the Lord is ready to come and help you. This is a very, very rare science where we can't even understand. Like normally when you are doing a PhD or when you're doing a master's, or let's say you are going to the university, right? You have to follow what has been given to you by the teacher or the lecturer, right? You just have to follow this. Let's say he gives you a mathematics equation. What is a square plus b square is equal to? So you will have to follow that same procedure. You cannot change and deviate and all that. There you cannot dictate your terms on this. But whereas in Bhakti Yoga, it's so interesting that you are actually dictating to the Lord. Oh Lord, please pick me up. I am trying to be completely dedicated to you. I am just doing my service. I don't expect anything in return, but still I am completely eager to simply fall at your lotus feet and want to cling into your lotus feet. I don't have anything else in this world. So who is he going to approach? Who is he going to meditate? Who is he going to be ready to accept? Only the Lord. He doesn't have anyone in this world, no other relation in this world. Maybe father, husband, mother, son, brother, sister, uncle, auntie, friend, boyfriend, girlfriend, anything you can contemplate on, any different varieties of relationship, right? But still only one thing practically is related to the Supreme Lord and to the Bhakta. What is it? Only Bhakti Seva. So this triangle always exists. Bhakta, Bhakti, and Bhagavan. All the time, there is only, it's a selfish group. It's a very selfish group. They don't come out of this triangle. All the time, the Bhakta is ready to do only Bhakti Seva to the Bhagavan. And that's all they are bothered about. So then the Lord becomes indebted to go out of his way, and he is ready to do the bidding. He is ready to do the service. I'll tell you a wonderful story, one beautiful story from Ramayana, right? Rama had become a king now. He's come back from Sri Lanka and he's been made the king. So he has beautiful ministers, fantastic, very able, powerful ministers. And he also has his wonderful brothers who are also very much, very strong and very, very just. And then they are very capable to manage it even in Rama's absence. But what Rama does is that he makes it a point that he has a big bell, the huge bell, just like how we see on some of the churches, right? Like a church bell. So he puts the bell in the city center. He puts a bell near the city center, or maybe at the entrance of the city. So anyone who has some kind of a distress, they are allowed to ring the bell, and then they get the darshan of the Lord. Lord Rama is a king. It's not easy. Even if you're a common person, you still just ring the bell, and then you are being asked why you have rung, and if the reason is fair enough, you get the audience of the Supreme Lord. So then it so happened that there was no one is ready to ring the bell. Why? Because they were all extremely happy. That's what is called Rama Rajya, means the kingdom of Rama at the time of Ramayana period. It was always very, very subdued, very amazing, very tranquil, very serene. Everyone was extremely pleased in their heart. There was never a disease. There was never a death. There was untimely death was uncalled for. Many things like this happened. So what happened was this bell had become, so it's been there lying there like this for a long time. So it started rusting, and a creeper, many creepers started growing. So after some time, the bell got camouflaged. There was nothing there because the bell was supposed to be there, but it's only creepers there. Why? Because no one was using it, because there was no need for it. But still the bell existed. So one day there is a sudden ring of the bell. So then Rama says, where is the sound of the bell coming? And all of a sudden, there must be some distress somewhere. So let me understand what's happening. So then he sends his brother Lakshmana. Lakshmana, can you please go and see? Is there some issue or some concern? Because this is very important. This is what we had said it. And now suddenly this is happening. So please go. So Lakshmana went, he saw around and nothing happened. And then after some time, he saw one person. He was a Brahmana. He was crying. He's saying crying. He was crying and said, did you ring the bell or you are simply crying? Yeah, I was the one who rang the bell because I wanted to see Lord Rama directly. I don't want to see anyone else. So then this Lakshmana said, no, no, you can always tell me. I'm there. I'm his representative. I'm his brother. I'm Lakshmana. You can tell me. He said, I have nothing to do with you. I don't want to talk to you also. I just want only Rama to be addressing this. That's the grave issue. That's why I've rang the bell, and then please allow me to go into his audience. So then this kind of a discussion happened. Then Lakshmana said, okay, let me take you there. And then he goes and then reports it to Rama and saying that there is a Brahmana waiting. He wants to have your darshan and he wants to have something, but he's not ready to tell me what the problem is. So then Rama said, okay, that's strange, but okay, you go ahead and please bring him. So when the Brahmana came into the court, so the Brahmana said, you are a crook. You are not the Supreme Lord Sri Ramachandra, who is supposed to be ruling this entire cosmos. Because you are a crook, you are an imposter. So everyone was like shocked. The entire assembly said, hey, what are you talking about? Do you know whom you are talking to? I'm going to sever your head. So it becomes more serious stuff. Then Rama said, calm down, calm down. Let's understand. He's in distress. Let's see what he's saying. You see, my age is only 48. He says, the Brahmana says, I'm only 48 years old, but I have a child, and the child is only 5 years old, but the child is dead now. Before I die, the child is dead. That means there is something wrong somewhere. In the olden days, in the Treta Yuga, we could never hear or see or even contemplate that an elderly person is alive and the child of the person dies. It's a very rare phenomenon. It is impossible or next to impossible. Why? Because there must be some kind of an anomaly which has impacted that kind of a situation in this particular kingdom. So that's the way the rule of the king was at this point of time. So we are talking about devotional service. What it means is, right. So now this particular person says by that, and he stays quiet. Rama gets very intrigued and says, please completely detail all the issues what you are coming across. You see, I have my child and he is only 5 years old and he is dead now. And I don't even can contemplate on it of losing him. Why? Because that it is not possible in your Rajya, in your kingdom, in your rule. This cannot happen. That an elderly man is still alive, the father is still alive, and the son is dead. So there must be some problem somewhere. So then immediately Rama said he sent all his brothers to different directions across the entire globe. He said, find out. There must be something wrong somewhere. Someone is doing something wrong. You go and find out. And every one of them went to the different directions. Someone went to the east, someone went to the west, someone went to the north. No one had gone to the south. So then it was going on and on and on. So then finally, all the three of them, they came. So then they said, they reported no anomaly at all. Everything is so smooth and sweet as it's supposed to be. It is working like a fully tainted oil. So it's working great. So there is no problem at all. Then Rama was not still convinced. Brahmana became more angered. He said, what kind of a king are you? You are supposed to be the supreme god, Rama, whom I am worshipping. Now he started blasting him with more vigor. He's saying, you're sitting in this throne and you're saying you are God, and how I'm approaching you to give me a solution, you're not giving me this. You see, this is the relation the Bhagavan and Bhakta has. He can approach God with that same love. He's got a super craving love for the Supreme Lord, and he's showing that love. It's not a abuse. He's craving. I love you so much. I see you as my supreme deity in flesh and blood, and I am seeing you, and you are giving me such a excuse that none of the brothers could bring me the real truth. I want to know the truth. And Rama said, don't worry about it. Just give me 2 days time. I'll be back. I said, okay. The Brahmana agreed. And what he did, Rama took his sword. He said, get my chariot. And he started going to the south. He went to different directions across the entire south. He just went everywhere. And then he came to a place and he saw there was a huge banyan tree. And this huge banyan tree, there was a person who was hanging. What do you call ulta? Like your head down and your leg up. He was doing upside down, some kind of a yoga. He was doing a yoga. So this person was doing that, and then Lord Rama asked him, "Wow, this is phenomenal. You could." He asked this person. This person did not come down. He was answering from the entire tree. He was in the tree where he was. He was saying, "This is phenomenal yoga. How are you able to manage to do all these things? What's your intention? Who are you? How are you able to manage all these things? This is a very rare situation." So this person said, "My name is so and so." So when Lord Rama asked, "What is your gotra?" then he started asking him, "Who are you?" And I'll say, "I am from this particular some kind of a Shudra class." And then before that, he said, "My intention is that I want to go back to the heavens, and I am capable of going. And that's why I'm preparing myself with this particular yoga system." And this is fun. Rama said, "Fantastic." But then next question Rama asked was, "Who are you? which varna do you belong to?" Right? And he said Shudra. The next moment, Rama took his sword and flipped his head. Right? The Supreme Lord himself has taken that particularly as such a grave step to protect his devotees and maintain the religious stature. Right? He was a Shudra and he is trying to go to heavens in his Shudra body. That is not accepted. That is why Krishna created these 4 varnas and 4 ashramas. Chatur varna maya shishta guna karma vibhagashaha. He made it sure that the Brahmanas are Brahmanas, they are the heads, the Kshatriyas are the shoulders, the Vaishyas are the stomach, and the Shudras are the legs of the cosmic manifestation. Now, this Shudra, the person who was a practitioner, was actually not fit to go to the next level till he practices to a longer procedure and gets qualified for that. So that was in Treta Yuga. So the Lord had to take a personal step forward to make sure that the devotee who was actually asking, the moment he killed this particular person, the son of the Brahmana came alive. So you see the anomaly here. Krishna himself takes care of this devotee. That is why this triangle of Bhakti, Bhagavan, and Bhakta cannot be broken at any point of time. That is why we need to have that strong faith. If you notice in this particular slide, which I'm trying to say, when the Lord says, let me load it. Yeah, when the Lord says, "But those who worship me, giving back all their activities unto me, being completely devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotion service, always meditating upon me, fixing myself as the goal of life, having their minds on me, O Pritha, son of Pritha, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death." There is no doubt about it. So now you can practically see how Krishna takes care of each and every devotee. He doesn't bother about anything else. He is only bothered about the devotee, and the devotee is bothered only about himself. Krishna and Bhakta is always channeled in one single line. They don't miss each other. So when the Lord is personally coming to help, when the devotee cannot do it anything further for himself. So we as practitioners should have this kind of a finer goal setting in our life. Then everything else will be very much smooth lined. What it means is that bring Krishna in the center of your house. Bring Krishna in the center of your activities. You might probably have a WhatsApp, you are in a WhatsApp group, right? We all have. I'm giving you practical examples of this sort. Why? Because we all go through this kind of a situation every day in and day out. We need to understand it. How you can be Krishna conscious all the time. Now that the technology has come in so fast into our systems, it's not easy for us to overcome them. Sometimes what happens is we will get carried away. Let's say, for example, we are here, right? We have a WhatsApp group. So the WhatsApp group is someone is posting a Krishna conscious subject matter. So some people are there. So someone is appreciating that, but someone is also thinking about, what, I did something in my office, and I tried to preach to someone. They also put it. Many things happen like this. But please make sure your focus is not lost anytime. Don't try to contemplate about your old activities. It will actually take you away from Krishna consciousness. It is good to remember, but it is not good to practice and progressively meditate on the old things. It's very dangerous. It will pull you away from Krishna consciousness, because the most of the time those activities would be in mode of ignorance and passion. Like, for example, I did a sports club, I did a speak make, I did some kind of a outing, or I did a picnic arrangement, I did this. This is the photos from the picnic or something like that, right? That's not going to give us any value add anywhere. So I'm just giving you a very crude, simple example how we can easily get deviated. If you don't fix your mind in the devotional service, in the devotional path which Krishna is wanting for us, he is saying complete devotion, complete dedicated, fixed your mind in my lotus feet. He is demanding that. So that means that we cannot take things for granted. The moment you take things for granted, familiarity will come to contempt. So we got to be very careful about it. So that's where the key success holds, that you become very strong in your attempts to be Krishna conscious all the time. That's why Krishna is himself is saying, bring me in the center of your activities, bring me into the center of all your activities, not just one activity. Every single activity has to have that very important window. That window is, it's Krishna, me, and that bhakti seva. This window should always be in that. There is a symbol which is, it's like a square. Okay, in the corporate world, if the square means is it's called secured zone, right? It says it's secured zone, but if you have a tick in the center of that square, it means completely secure. So what it means to be is that this particular triangle cannot be broken unless until you choose to leave either of this one, either the bhakti seva or the Bhagwan. Then the entire triangle is never secured. So that is why Krishna is emphasizing that we practice this in a very, very stronger fashion, with completely meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord with all our mind. Then the Lord becomes a swift deliverer of us from the ocean of birth, death, old age, and disease. Okay, explained you more here. Let's go to the next one. This is how Krishna consciousness in lower stages, Krishna consciousness in the top stages. There are active devotional service. There is indirect devotional service. Active or direct indirect services, what Krishna wants us to do is that follow the regulative principles, develop bhakti, contemplate on how to serve the Supreme Lord without focus is being lost. Keep the goal as Krishna, no deviations. Mind is always in the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. And then what happens to the path of Krishna consciousness? You are bringing Krishna in the center of your life. So then that is a relationship which you are building, and it is already very secured. That's how the progressive path. But initially, when you notice, we are all trying to do different levels of Krishna conscious activities or non-Krishna conscious activities, even though it's direct and indirect in one sense. Here, the indirect ways of cultivating Krishna consciousness is like you attempt to become little renunciant, right? And you attempt to read and know more knowledge about Krishna, or meditation processes, or attempt to understand it in a many, many methods, which will bring you with some kind of a purification, right? Then you are looking at some kind of a peace between yourself. That's what Krishna explains. There is many peace formulas available for all of us. And then there's a slow elevation to us. So to go to the next level. Then you come to the level where you are ready to work for Krishna. You wanted to serve Krishna, but you wanted to work, but you don't want to take and give the complete results to the Supreme Lord. But you still continue to work because I am a karma yogi. I want to work. But if you channelize your work, that's great. But what you need to do is dovetail that work's result to the Supreme Lord. Kayana vacha manasendirva buddhyatmanava prakriti swabhavat karomi ekta sambarismi Sriman Narayanati samarpayami. Just simply completely dedicate the whole day's activities to the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. Then you go to the next level where you develop a strong desire to practice Krishna consciousness, develop bhakti, develop the love with the devotees, like the association of the devotees, follow the rules and regulations which are mentioned in the scriptures, follow that in a stronger fashion, become more stronger, established by bringing Krishna in the center of your activities. Then you will have the complete relation of being with Krishna all the time. That's what is the method by which you can practice Krishna consciousness mentioned in the Bhakti Yoga. This is the devotional service. That's why we are discussing all this about. Krishna again and again focuses only on your mind. Why? Because mind is the only fickle element. It is the only thing which is actually going to take us away from the Lord. It takes only a click to go away. It is not. That's why good habits are not so easy to develop and hold it for long. right? It takes a lifetimes to learn a wonderful habit and being very conscious about it to practice it. But bad habits, you don't need much time. You immediately learn it. So Krishna is trying to tell us that just fix up your mind upon me. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is trying to wanting to say us and engage all your intelligence. No deviation. Thus you will live with me always without any doubt. Nasamshayaha. So always remember that Krishna is always our well-wisher. He is our eternal well-wisher. He is our divine friend. He is our divine lover. He is our divine father. He is everything what you can think of in any parts and parts of relationship, any parts and parcels of the relationship. He is always there for us. So all we need to do is that fix up our mind at the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. But it's not easy. It's not going to be, and it's a challenge. But that's why Krishna has given many options for us to dedicate, dovetail, how we can channelize our thoughts in the service of the Lord, bringing Krishna in the center of the activities which we perform, making sure that all the activities are only for his pleasure and for our own purification. Okay, now another beautiful verse, Krishna is saying, my dear Arjuna, O winner of wealth, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then I'll give you another alternative. Follow the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga. This will also help you to actually develop a desire to come to me. Like, for example, do a food for life, do some meditation, practice devotional service by chanting constantly, do sadhana bhakti, like watering tulsi, being with tulsi. Slowly, do alternatives. Abhyasa yoga yuktena, you need to do that. There is no other choice. By practice, you will automatically overcome. If you are not able to fix your mind, because meditation and focusing in the mind in Krishna service is not easy. So Krishna is have to be, he is forcing himself to give another alternative, because if you are not this, he doesn't want to let go Arjuna. He doesn't want to let go any of his devotees. He will always give alternatives. The more alternatives and options he gives us, so we can see more options coming through. See, practically speaking, how sadhana bhakti is practically followed, right? The process is to define, which is already cleanly defined, is to purify the senses. By how? Rising in the morning, offering prayers, chanting Hare Krishna, taking guidance from the spiritual master, making sure that we offer some patram pushpam palam toyam, small flowers, cooking for the Lord, honoring prasadam, making sure you read Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and taking association of devotees. Many of these are sadhana bhakti. These are only a set of examples. There are many things, like visiting devotional places, making sure that you are with the devotees, knowing the wonderful pastimes, the mahatmya of the place, hearing from the sadhus, and all these are belong to sadhana bhakti. So anyone and everyone is qualified. Everyone can do it. There is no one who has been rejected in this system. There is nothing called an exam which has a failure. No, everyone is a 100% mark holder. So the only point of which how they get 100% is when you practice all this. So Krishna is saying, if you cannot still follow the Bhakti Yoga, see, he has gone to the next level. First level, he said that you have to focus your mind on. Next level, if you can't do that, start practicing the regulative activities, which has been said in the Bhakti Yoga. Now, if you can't do that also, then just try to work for me. Because by working for me, you will come to the perfectional stage. You can do many other works. Like, for example, you can give some donation to the temple, or donation to the Food for Life, or do some kind of a Go Seva. That is also great. You are doing that. And then what you are doing, you're also trying to read books. You are also taking a book and you are also distributing that book to your friends and relatives and neighbors and whoever whom you feel that they need to get benefited also along with you. Then that's great. That's an alternative way of understanding to come to the level of perfectional stage. So Krishna is giving three options already. The fourth option, what Krishna is saying, if you are unable to still work with that kind of a consciousness, that's all right. Then try to give up all the results of your work and just simply try to be self-situated. You just simply work. You might be a doctor, you might be compounder, you might be this, you might be that. What you can do? You can be a police also. Then finally, what do you want to do? All these things. Whatever you're doing, that simply dedicate that activity, the result of that activity to me. Then that's another way of coming to the better level of your situation. And finally, one more time, which Krishna is saying, if you still can't practice that one, then engage yourself in the cultivation of knowledge by reading so, and cultivation of another ways of meditation, And better than meditation is a renunciation of the fruits of action. For such renunciation, you can normally get into the level of peace. You will attain peace. See, for all this practice, you need a very, very peaceful mind. If you can't have peaceful mind, you are always agitated with something or the other, you cannot expect great result to be an output. You need to practice that. It is the more you practice, a more unagitated situation you are in, that's great for you and for others. Otherwise, you are making a fool of yourself and you are trying to make others also feel that they are also a fool. So this is the process Krishna has already given it to us. And we cannot derail from that process. The process is sadhana bhakti. If you can't do the sadhana bhakti, go to the next level of regulative principles practice. If you can't do that, channelize your energy into doing some work. And if you can't do that, completely take that work off, and whatever activities you're performing, just simply dedicate that one. If you still can't do it, come to this level. Take up to the cultivation of knowledge, meditation, making sure that by meditation you become more renunciant. Let it go. That is kind of thought process. You need to have it in place. Then automatically you will achieve some kind of peace. So Supreme Lord is extremely accommodative. He is extremely non-judgmental. He is completely broad-minded. The idea of carrying Bhagavad Gita in us is to bring a positive change, not just in the society, but it's also in our own system, in our own heart. We want reformation. We want a revolution in our heart. We need that change. It is craving for a change. Otherwise, Krishna would not have chosen each one of us here to be in the same block, right? Otherwise, why will he take some time off to understand this? So Krishna is giving, you have been chosen. So Krishna wants, this is what he wants. So this is where we actually carry to the next level of Krishna consciousness. So now we are going to touch upon some of the wonderful qualities which Krishna loves. So which is actually from chapter 12 of 13th verse to the 20th verse. We'll see all those wonderful qualities as we progress. Nirmamaha, free from sense of proprietorship. Nirankara, free from false ego. Gata Vyataha, free from all kinds of bodily designations. Sarvaramba Parityaji, free from all kinds of endeavors which are not Krishna-centric. Suchihi, pure, non-envious, equal to friends and enemies. Udasina means always free from contaminations of association. Mauna means silence. Silence speaks 1,000 words. So santushtaha, completely satisfied, forgiving, tolerant, expert. Na shotati na kankshati samasarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktir labate param. Neither lament nor desire. These are the ways Krishna is actually representing us. How do you react to different situations? How do you react to situations of dealing with different other entities? How do you show your attitude towards yourself and to others? Okay, now dealing with the Lord. I'm sorry, I'm going a little faster, but you'll have to spend some time to understand this because these are all very important subject matters. Krishna is trying to give all these details in the Bhakti Yoga system. And then how you can also deal with the Lord. Mai arpito manobade, mame veshya samshaya. This is that. Use your mind, use your intelligence, fix in the Lord's lotus feet. Dhrida nishya, engage in devotion service with determination. And sthira matir means fixed always. Regulate yourself to be fixed completely. So if you go to each of the slokas, you will actually see how Krishna is explaining it in such a manner that Arjuna becomes more and more stronger now. And he becomes, oh, there are a lot of information which I never knew that. So this is a very systematic, a very engineering based presentation. I didn't know that there are so many data which is needed to collect and make me more stronger. So as it goes, everything becomes more clearer and clearer and clearer to Arjuna, and he is getting ready to the battlefield. So then finally, Krishna says, those who follow this imperishable path of devotion service and who completely engage themselves with faith, making me the supreme goal, are very, very dear to me. Bhaktastive priyame. Then actually, Krishna also explains in another chapter, also in something very similar to this. There is one more place where he touches upon the subject matter as that you become very dear to me. Right. Anyway, what we need to contemplate on this Bhakti Yoga, is it easy? If you feel it is yes, then it's great. If you say no, then hold on. Well, all these things is what Krishna is explaining and he is expecting us to do. So is it doable? If you say yes, yes, that is. Am I getting convinced? Maybe, may not be, or yes. If you are yes, there you are. If you are not, then we need to go back and rework on this process, because the process is fixed. It is time tested and it will always work correctly. Only thing is that the way in which we contemplate or we see that thing may not be the way in which we wanted to actually look at. So that's where the issue is. Are you feeling positive about all this practice? Yes. If it says, that's great. If it's not, then we need to relook at it. So finally, we want to give it a try. Maybe an as experiment for 1 month or whatever. See what you can practice. Most of us here are practitioners, so I'm sure that it's not going to be difficult. But if someone is new to the system and wants to practice Krishna consciousness, but wants to know what exactly is there for me to take away from this, and this is what is there, the Lord wants to say. So in conclusion of this particular verses, the devotional service is described in the middle 6 chapters because it's more congenial. That's why we discussed upon it, that Bhakti Yoga is kept in the center, Karma and Jnana in the other sides. One need not bother about the materials to keep the body and soul together, because by the Lord's grace, everything is carried out automatically. Just like he is ready to feed the elephant and he is ready to feed the ant. There is no difference in his feeding capabilities or maintaining capabilities. Krishna decides, Krishna holds it, because Krishna is in the heart of every living entity. So there is no way by which we can actually fail in this process, because the process is very time tested and it is always going to be very enthusiastically served, enthusiastically performed. So then here is a beautiful verse from Krishna Namashtakam. It says, Hari Nama, or name sung by the sages, or transcendental syllables, which is the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, that brings bliss, happiness, and complete calm and serenity to the people. Even if you are spoken only once, even if you are spoken disrespectfully, you are at once ready to remove the many hard sufferings of everyone. That's the power of the holy name, which actually we don't even discuss this, because it's a very secretive thought. We don't give this out to others. Krishna Nama is enough to completely eradicate all our sufferings. If we simply take shelter of the Supreme Lord's lotus feet, if we simply take the holy names to our heart, and if we chant with that complete faith which Krishna is requesting with, then there is no question of any kind of suffering to our system. This is what we have to do and practice. So now I could just browse through as much as I can, and then we have completed the chapter called the Bhagavad Gita's devotional service. This is the 12th chapter we have touched upon. There are many things which we actually need to know and also understand it, especially how do we deal with other living entities, right? There are some things which we need to be very conscious about it. One is, you should not be envious on others. Don't have this envious nature. Just remove that from your system. Suppose, let's say your friend buys a car which is better than your car. Don't have that kind of a feeling that, oh, this guy has bought a car which I could have bought it, but you know what, that's how it is. But it's naturally going to happen when you are in a corporate world, because it's a rat race. Everyone is going to sit on your head and they're going to pull you down. It is natural. If you feel that, most of the time, sometimes you feel it, that this guy doesn't have knowledge as much as I have, but still he gets more money than I am getting. And I feel very bad, because every time when I go to the manager for a hike, and that fellow says, let's go for appraisal. And when he goes to the appraisal, he always keeps telling me that, you know what, you've done a fantastic job. I would give 5 out of 5. But you know what, there is a place for improvement. You can always keep improving. And that is a section. You have done it good, but you're still not there, but you're getting there. So let's look at this. And you know that, our company is not doing very well. And this time probably you may not get a hike, or no one is getting a hike. So keep it going. Let us see next year. That's what they would say. So then you will feel very envious when you suddenly hear or know that someone else has got a better deal than you have. Don't have that envious nature in that. Just remove it from a system. Always think that, okay, Krishna, I know that I will have faith in you. If you feel that I'm supposed to stay in this company or move out of this company or get a better deal, better money, any aspects, money is just one criteria. Krishna will provide that. That's non-envious dealings. Just be equal to friends and enemies. Don't have anything called enemies. Don't have anything called friends. There's nothing called friends and enemies. Equally poised. You are here because you have a relation with the Supreme Lord. That's where you need to decide and work out. We have got nothing to do with anyone in this world. You came here alone, you are going to go out of the system alone. But in that process, we have made up some people as friends, some people as enemies. That's not a great way of dealing things. But that's not what Krishna wants it actually. He wants to keep everyone as devotees, we are equal to everyone. We don't showcase this kind of a negative thoughts to anyone and positive thoughts to someone. We keep everyone equally distributed because we are well-wishers. They are para dukkha dukkis, means those who are more caring for others than themselves. That is what the devotees are. So Krishna is expecting us to follow this. And he is also wanting us to keep ourselves silent when you really don't need to talk. Maunam, silence speak 1,000 words. So you need to be careful, conscious, and speak only what is needed to speak about Krishna. Otherwise, you can simply chant Hare Krishna, you can simply read Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam and spend time reading and discussing with the devotees. Where will you discuss this subject matter? With a homeless fellow in the town center? You cannot, because it's absolutely out of question. Bhakti can only be discussed with bhaktas. That is why this is a special category. The entire thing is in one single framework, and it cannot be discussed with anyone else outside because they can't understand this. And this is not something which they can even contemplate on. So that is why we wanted an exclusive club called devotees. That is why Krishna is trying to say that learn the art of being silent. And Krishna also says, learn the art of being away from contaminating association. This is extremely important. You should be very, very careful that you don't give your consciousness to others, but you take consciousness from the Supreme Lord and the Supreme devotees. So the material world is full of contamination. So you need to be very careful. We spend more than 8 to 10 hours in the office or in the workplace and all that, right? So don't bring their consciousness into your system and then contaminate yourself and pollute others also. You are in this group, right? This is not going to help you at all. But in the alternative, you take up Krishna consciousness, share that thoughts to others, but in a subtle manner, just like how we discussed yesterday, right? You are alternatives of ways of conveying some messages to many people by giving prasadam or trying to encourage them with some kind of a sweet words. Satyam bruyat, prem bruyat. Chanakya Pandit says this. Tell the truth in a very palatable manner so that they accept it in a nice fashion. Then they become more conscious. Wow, this is good. These guys are good example, man. They're good people. So that's where our key of success is. So this is something which we need to touch upon. Dealing with other living entities, right? I'll stop here. Any further questions? Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. So if there is any questions, comments, realizations, some adaptations, then we can always think about it.
But we have a quiz.
Yes, great.
A poll. So should we take the questions and then do the poll, or should we do the poll now, Prabhu?
Poll is good, right? Always poll is good.
Okay, we're going to launch the poll now. So please, all feedback is welcome. So please be honest.
Your timer starts now. Already started, huh? So everyone is answering. I hope everyone is answering. Even I have to answer. Huh? Very interesting questions.
I don't think so, Prabhu, you can do that.
Five out of 5 from me. Top marks.
Jai Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. We have only 7 who have done it out of 28. 28 people in the system. Only 7 have done. What about the rest?
32% completed. 9 of 28. 35, 39%.
Okay, everyone is doing now one by one.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay,
Well,
nice.
Krishna got me a job today, so I'm so happy.
Oh, Jai Prabhu. Congratulations. So
Congratulations.
is the first month's salary for me?
Yes.
Thank you.
Dakshana.
Very kind of you. Thank you, bro. Your words are good.
I am now a professional carer.
Hari bol.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
Krishna takes care, Prabhu. That's what we are discussing. He is already taken care of you. If you are sincere, Krishna will take care.
Well, I am a sincere sinner.
See, I am not against the sinner, but I am against the sin.
Yes, that's
So don't
an
worry about your
intelligent
sinner.
response.
You might be a sinner, no problem for me, but I am more cared about the sin. So let's
Yes.
take the sin out of our system, not the sinner.
Yeah. Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, we've got 4 left. 85% complete. 24,
very good,
28.
Prabhu.
We've got 4 more remaining.
4 more waiting. Okay. Did Penny answer?
I'd be very
No.
surprised if she didn't.
Penny is dodging. She knows that's that 4 out of that 4. She is the dodger.
So whilst we're waiting for 3 last submissions. So it's anonymous, so you won't be held accountable for your answers. So Pushpa Mashi's got a question. Mashi's hand is raised, if you would like to take that.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji.
Oh, sorry, I was thinking, I was wondering, should I ask or should I wait?
Yes. They will go on with their own. That is administration job, not mine.
Yeah, so my question was, Prabhu, you mentioned something about renunciation, but then I had the thought, like, renunciation, does it just mean renouncing just something which is on the material level? Because sometimes I feel even when you're doing service in a temple setting, sometimes you do get attached to some kind of service, and then it happens that, you know, the service that you like to do, other people also like to do. And I feel like there also should be some renunciation, because there's a sense of proprietorship there as well. So I felt like this can apply here as well. Maybe correct me if I am wrong.
Yeah, good thought also in that sense. It's not just material alone. The sense of renunciation should always be there everywhere, right? The service is being given by the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, we are nowhere going to do any service. So that's the ownership of the Lord. The Lord has decided to give some service to us. That's why we are here. So when in a temple kind of a situation, people do understand it. Sometimes they are so attached to their service, they don't want to let go of that service, which is great, which is what we all have to be. We have to be very much attached to our service to the Supreme Lord and his devotees. But in that progress, if we make a mistake of offending someone by that service, that's not great. That is a package. The service can be done with the love and devotion. The idea of the service is to bring the best in ours. But in the same way, if it is impacting someone else's spiritual practice also, then it's better we avoid that kind of a unnecessary ruffles. So it is a touch and go situation. We need to be careful about it, how to handle this kind of situation. I'll give you an example. Suppose, let's say, for example, you are a pujari, right? In a temple atmosphere, you're a temple pujari and you're going to do a service at 12 o'clock in the afternoon to do service. Now, the point is that on that particular day, another pujari comes and says, Prabhuji, can I do the aarti instead of you? He said, then why, Prabhu? I'm in the schedule and you're asking me to let go of my service, right? No, Prabhu, today is my birthday. I just wanted to do the aarti. Can you do me this? So there is a humanity which comes into the place. The kicking of humanity comes into the place. Means that you understand that. See, this devotee wants with so much love on his birthday, he wants to do some service to the Supreme Lord. Then what you do? You say, okay, Prabhu, no problem. You do the service. I will do some other service. That is the way you need to deal it. But in that manner, you're attached to the service, but still you are letting go on the basis of progressing in Krishna consciousness. So what will Krishna think? Look at from the Krishna's angle. What will Krishna think is, he loves you more than he loves him, because you let go that renunciant thought. So Krishna loves that, and Krishna doesn't let you go. He will immediately engage you in some other service. And in the same way, you will also appreciate that devotee for showing a nice attitude, that he wants to dedicate his day of his birth in service of Krishna. So in both ways, there is no loss. It's always a win-win situation. You see, you understand what I'm trying to tell you? So then we need to look at that kind of an angle all the time. We need to be accommodative. We need to understand the concepts of Krishna consciousness within the framework what has been established by Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada always has encouraged every one of us to be dedicated in service of the Lord and not getting unnecessarily ruffled when it is not needed. So that is why Prabhupada says that Anukulena Krishna Anushilanam Bhakti Ruttamam. The more you know what is most conducive for you, more you know what is good for your personal practice of Krishna consciousness, you should adapt. Then your devotion to the Supreme Lord will increase. You got it? Answers you?
Thank you, Prabhu. Yes, it does.
Okay. All right. Okay. Do you have any other questions?
We've finished the poll, so results are in.
Okay.
But if
We'll
there's
touch
any-
upon the results a little later if it's okay with you, Prabhu.
Yes, Mama.
Right. Okay. We'll go on the questions because
We
then
have Saule
Saule
hands up.
Mataji.
Yes,
Sole
Saule.
Mataji. Yes, Sole Mataji. Are you inside the window or outside the window? Where are you?
No, it's just the shelf.
Okay, the shelf. Okay.
Sometimes
Penny likes to sit on top like this. That's why.
no, Prabhu.
Okay. Yes, please.
Thank you, Prabhu, for the class. Prabhu, I wanted to ask, I feel that sometimes when during the chanting, it's so nice and I feel very blissful. I mean, mostly towards the end, like maybe, I don't know, 15, 16 rounds like that. But then after that, yeah, I try to do maybe some extra, like maybe 2-3 rounds, and then it's good. But then slowly with the with the day progression, I feel my mind is like I'm sometimes dragged by my mind or something. I don't know. Should I chant like during the day some more, like 1-2 extra rounds, or like
You are not restricted to chanting only 1-2 extra rounds. Every moment you should be chanting. If
really?
you feel your mind is playing a havoc onto your system, you just chant everywhere you're going. Use a clicker, keep chanting.
Okay.
Idea is to be always Krishna conscious. Satata kirtan yanto mam. So be always Krishna conscious in whichever way which is conducive for you to be conscious, not allowing your mind to get disturbed. So practice that.
Yes.
You don't need to get to someone's answer for that. That's natural. Idea is to be always conscious of Krishna, whether you are chanting only during the 16 rounds chanting or to the rest of the days. We have discussed this equation, right? Someone went to the gym and they said that
like
they want to
spiritually
reduce.
fainting.
Sorry.
Hare Krishna, I have a question.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, hope you answered, Sole. This is answered. Okay. Yeah. Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, if Krishna is so powerful and he is this, all the scriptures say how wonderfully amazing and powerful and beautiful he is, then why do we have to do so many rounds, so many spiritual? I mean, material life is impossible. Now, with all the demands that we've got to do, all the things we've got to do, find work, bills, death of loved ones, old age, death, and then on top of that, we have to be spiritually doing 16 rounds, and we have to be vegetarian, and we have to control our minds and senses. I feel like spiritually fainting. So why can't we just, surrender unto him, follow the regulative principles, cook for him? Why do we have to do so many rounds and be about 4:30 in the morning? It just seems, it's such beautiful philosophy, but it's so high and demanding of one's time. Sorry. I love it, and it's such an amazing positive philosophy, but balancing spiritual life and the impossible demands of material life, sometimes it's just so difficult.
Does Langton raised his hands? Is it that he wants to answer this question? or you have a question?
I mean, if he has got the power to save us, and he's that powerful, and he knows that we love him, why do we have to be so highly?
We don't need to. Actually, no one is telling you, and Krishna is not demanding all this. He is only asking you to surrender. That's the last statement. But the point is that your mind is not ready to surrender, right? So how do you fill in the blanks? What is your intent? What is your expectation in the 24 hours? What do you want to do? Let's do one thing. You put on you take an Excel sheet and put that all that activities which you want to perform for the whole day. And then we will take it one-on-one and understand that what kind of mentality you have. Are you Krishna conscious by only doing 3 activities? Or you're only Krishna conscious after doing only 10 activities? If you are not dedicating your time in Krishna service, you are readily only doing service to Maya, illusion. So in order to somehow or the other make you go away from Maya and dedicate yourself into Krishna service, Krishna has to give in a lot of options for you. If you can't do this, do this. If you can't do that, do that. Another one, third one, fourth one, like that. So it's not that Krishna wants you to get up at 4:30 in the morning. He is happy that you get up at 8 o'clock in the morning also. But the point is that at 8 o'clock, if you get up, you're going to chant. Why is Krishna asking you to chant? Because that's the method. That's the process. The already defined, tested, and time-tested process. If you follow this, you will get 100% marks. If you don't follow this, you will probably end up at around 30 marks or 33 marks, not even 35 for passing. So which one do you want? See, spiritual practice is nectar always. It might probably be pain in the start, but nectar in the end. Material life, nectar in the start, pain in the end. Which one do you want?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, that does make sense. Yeah.
You choose what you want, whether you want the pain in the last or the pain in the first. I prefer pain in the first, but I want love in the last. So that's why I'm ready to forego whatever it means for me to take up this practice in a much stronger fashion, so that I know I'm going to be a winner at the later point of time. Right? That's the idea behind it. Okay?
Yeah, understood. Yeah.
Otherwise, we are just trying to fill up a blanks all through the day. This is our time sheet. We are filling our time sheet. The problem with the filling of the time sheet is that we will fail very badly, because we will not be Krishna conscious in that progress. If you try this as an experiment, tomorrow morning, 4:30 or 5:30, whatever time you're getting up, till the point of the entire day, and you report to us, what did you do? You don't have to tell me what all you did, but you tell us how much Krishna conscious were you the whole day. Then you will know exactly what Krishna is trying to keep and fit and refit yourself into that devotional practice, making sure that you are all the time Krishna centric by the activities which are generating it without your knowledge.
So we do it to keep us engaged because we are naturally rebellious.
Not only just because we are naturally rebellious, it is also because our mind is not completely controlled.
Right.
We don't have that. We are not allowing the intelligence to control the mind, but we are actually allowing the mind to control the intelligence. We are feeding the bad dog all the time. So how do you expect your senses to act onto your favor? It's not. The more you feed the bad dog, obviously you're not going to get good results, Prabhu. So you need to be honest about it. And that's why Krishna wants us to do all these activities, which is going to help us, which is not just going to help him. He is not bothered about help, but he is going out of his way to help us. That's the key factor. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Langton Prabhu.
Oh, Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thanks again for a nice class. Yeah, no, it was just, you already answered the question, but I just wanted to answer to just Prabhu, because I had the exact same question slightly earlier on, like the exact same question, which was, if Krishna was, is this potent, why do we have to do so much? But yeah, you've already answered it. But the other way I looked at it is like, it's like, if you know about bodybuilding, a bodybuilder just doesn't say, oh, I want to get muscles, go to the gym once, and then all of a sudden he has muscles. It's built up over time. It becomes a lifestyle. Like anything you want to really ingrain into your consciousness needs to become a lifestyle. So I remember watching a lecture where Prabhupada said it only takes 1 second to surrender. But because of our natures, it's very difficult for us. So we're given this kind of cheat sheet of what to do. You already said it, Jez, is engage, keep the mind engaged in the Krishna consciousness for those who are unable to surrender within a second, just like that, you know. But that's just what I thought about it, because I had the exact same question earlier on.
Yeah, and always understand and note one thing: don't ask any hypothetical questions. Hypothetical questions are not meant for honest experience. That's a very artificial experience. If you want to get your honest experience, look at yourself, look into your heart, close your heart, look for that private space, and you see for yourself what kind of a churning which is happening. Is it that something bad which is coming out of your system? If it's bad which is coming out of your system, then that's great. But if something good is coming out of the system and the bad still resides there, then it's a problem for you. That means you are not honestly trying to do a right churning. Look at that. As Langton said, yeah, it just takes one moment of time for us to surrender to the Supreme Lord, right? This happened in the early days of Prabhupada's times, early days in New York City, right? One of the devotees called Shyam Sundar, he's a carpenter by profession. So what he used to do is that he was asked to carve Lord Jagannath's wooden frame. So he had a miniature model, so he was practicing to make it on a bigger scale. So what he was doing is, since he was a carpenter, I think it was a natural thing for him to actually smoke. So what he did was he used to smoke, and he used to chisel Lord Jagannath's form, and he used to keep the ashtray on the head of Jagannath, and then take the smoke, keep it on the ashtray, and continue to chisel, right? So Prabhupada apparently happened to move through the window to see what this fellow is doing. He was a youngster at that time, so he was doing that. So Prabhupada saw that, and there was some kind of smoke coming out. So you know that this fellow is smoking. And then on top of it, he had kept the ashtray on Jagannath's head also, and then he was chiseling. But he was so immensely dedicated in serving the Lord by chiseling and all that. Then after that, he came out and then saw Prabhupada, and then Prabhupada said, "This small thing is separating you from the love of the Supreme Lord." That was the last day he ever smoked. So this is the personality who came to the England, presented the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, and now we have a chance to be connected here. These are one wonderful families. These families came in. They are the ones who did this. That's the point. Okay, Dominic has something. Prabhu, I think a message is then. I don't know why I'm not able to see the message in complete.
Yes, Prabhu. Dominic saying he would like to share a quote to support this answer. Yes, please, Dominic, Prabhu.
He says Namaste. Wow, that is different. Say Hare Krishna, don't say Namaste. You know what Namaste means?
My obeisances.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, Dominic. Yeah, it is. Namaste is allowed.
So yeah, just it reminded me of this nice quote from Prabhupada's purports in chapter 9 of the purport of text 30. And it says devotional service is more or less a declaration of war against the illusory energy. As long as one is not strong enough to fight the illusory energy, there may be accidental fall downs. But when one is strong enough, he is no longer subjected to such fall downs, as previously explained. And
yeah, I like that.
Yeah, what it
I remember that.
I just wanted to share.
Yeah, good one. Okay. Right, Prabhu. Anything else? Maybe we can take one last question. Otherwise, we are good. We stop.
I was just saying, because sometimes there's a difference between quality and quantity. I mean, if somebody does a few good, sincere rounds to 16 to 64 rounds where they're not concentrating or they're not sincere, then surely that's the difference. Sometimes I feel like the more you do, the more happy we become. But if we're doing it just as a competition, if we do it sincerely, we can do one round and then Krishna will see, wow, this person's serious and sincere. But if somebody's doing 64 but he's not sincere, then I don't know.
Okay. Pratama Prabhu, any other quiz or questions or anything else? Then we are done.
Yeah, we're done. We can share the results of
Please go ahead.
the poll. Yeah, 1 sec. Okay. You've passed, Prabhu. The feedback's very positive.
What do you mean past? I am just doing my
Thumbs up.
job, man.
Everyone is
Okay.
like,
There are 3 devotees who have said I am too fast. I am not past. I would want to get more detail about this because unfortunately, I am only giving you the essence of Bhagavad Gita on this particular subject on each chapter wise. So I don't have a choice but to just complete the particular sections. So, but as you need to spend, Bhagavad Gita cannot be completed in 18 days. It takes a lifetimes, maybe many lifetimes. So you still cannot complete it. Every time I present it, it is going to give me a different versions of thoughts which comes through me, because it is directly driven by the Supreme Lord in the heart. So it is something which we need to focus on. So I do understand. I apologize for being a bit fast, but there are subject matters which needs to be done as an homework, just like I gave you 10.8, 9, 10, and 11. So, but I got only one girl stating that I have tried to do the translation. I'm praying that all of you are honestly going to attempt and complete that exercise. So like that, this is only an essence presentation, and you need to go back and do your homework. If you don't do your homework, I always keep telling you, so you go back on the day, read the entire chapter and find out what doubts you have. And I'm here to answer your doubts. If you don't have any doubts, I presume that you have completely understood what I have conveyed till date. So if not, then there is an issue in the understanding, because essence is always an essence. So I apologize. I will try to maybe more placing for the rest of the time.
Well, we've got a lot of content to get through, so I think
Yeah.
a couple too fast is that's part of the cost.
Cool. Okay. Right. Okay. So we'll stop for the time for the day. We'll come back again tomorrow at 7 o'clock. It's very important for us to connect, and we'll go to the next chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Till then, 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Oh, His Grace Vishal Gauranga Prabhu ki jai.
Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Pancha Kalpa Trivisa Kripa Sindha Bhava Patita Nampa Vaishnav Devi
Namaha.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for joining. Hari
Thank you,
Bol.
everyone. Hari Bol.
Krishna.